Let's talk about vulnerability. Let's talk about vulnerability. I didn't want to do this video. Like this video right now. I didn't want to do it. Like really didn't want to do it. But here we are. Something I've been learning about recently, it's really a different iteration of the same thing. Many things in personal development are, right? Nothing is fundamentally new is in the personal development space. Tony Robbins talks about the 6 human needs, and how we all have 6 human needs. And if we want to get into, basically, if we want to feel good about ourselves, we have to focus primarily on contribution and growth. And then maybe after that, love, right? And then by doing that, it's kind of like temping bowling. The other needs, variety, significance, and certainty kind of get met by default. But I've been hearing that a different way recently with some of the other stuff I've been studying, which has been specifically talking about energy. And I've been obviously speaking to in these videos a little bit more about identity and stuff like that. So if we talk for a moment about identity, and then we'll flip into energy. The old me, which is still in there, right? It's still in there. There's still a vibrational element of old me in there. The old identity would have not done this video tonight. Like, I have a previous block of time where I recorded videos quite consistently, but where I stopped, or on the days where I didn't film, was when I was not feeling good. So if I knew I was feeling good and I was like able to perform, then I would film. Or if I felt like I could talk about vulnerability and put a mask on and not really open up about it, but just talk about it and perform, then I would film. Like, I could intellectualize vulnerability, but I only as long as I was able to put a mask of perform. But yeah, I didn't want to do this video today. And I could feel this old identity in me that was like fighting for me to not do it. And then I realized if I didn't do the video, the old me would have won. The reason I didn't want to do the video, like about 45 minutes before this video, I was on the sofa doing some breath work. Sage was watching television, and I'd had a little cry. Few reasons. I had some conflict this week with my mum, which kind of got into a bit of a painful text message battle, which I'm not proud of, but I also stand by what I said. Like, the challenge I have in that relationship is, I spend a huge amount of time emotionally regulating myself, raising my energy and my awareness. But when you're engaging with somebody that doesn't do that, it can be challenging. And sometimes, I'm human, right? I won't pretend to you like I'm not. So I think I'm carrying that energy, and then I've got some stuff in my business where there's some uncertainty in the business. It's now been about 4 months since the business, my business partner Chris left, and that relationship probably wasn't healthy. That relationship was primarily a bit of a, looking back, he was playing the role of dad, maybe even mum, and it became an unhealthy relationship. Wasn't healthy. So that relationship ended. It's good. I'm glad it ended, because it wasn't good for him. It wasn't good for me. But it's meant that now, coupling that with me, the recent conflict with my mum, there's just an old part of me that is trying to get out, but at the same time, I can feel that it's wanting to die, and a layer is being shed, and it's tough. It's painful. It's painful. And I'm always conscious when I talk on this kind of level on a video that I kind of put a disclaimer under the bottom. Miles is not looking for sympathy, right? There's nothing worse, to my mind, there's nothing worse when you bare your soul and you're emotionally open and somebody goes, oh, like, there's nothing worse than that. So don't do that. The reason is because it doesn't help a person, because what it does is it makes the person actually, maybe perhaps it reinforces that pattern is something that's like to be reinforced. I think sympathy and empathy are two very different things. Empathy is good. Sympathy is maybe not so good in this instance. Anyway, went off on a tangent there. But my point was that doing a video, doing content, vulnerability, especially during it, is really important. I think it's really important for social media anyway, because like if you go on social media, most of what's posted is the light in people's lives and not the dark. So I think it's really important to talk about the dark, but also as long as it's not a tactic, and I think people can see through it when it is anyway, but as long as it's not a tactic that's like being done for some reason to garner a result or an outcome, then it will inevitably enhance your relationship with like your like audience or clients or whoever it is that you serve or you want to help. So I really do believe vulnerability is like a really powerful thing. Like it's really powerful. As long as it's not used like with a hidden agenda. So I think going back to the original point of the video is, you know, if you're in my space and you're a coach, perhaps, you know, you might have seen the video I did yesterday, which is around doing versus being. And I had a call with a, she's not a client, but she's a person that I've been, we've had a few conversations, and we were talking about, she was talking about doing, and I spoke about the importance of being, and how the quality of your doing is, I believe, in direct reflection with how well you're being, right? It's like go to the gym, the quality of your workout is dictated by the quality of your warm-up. The quality of the marriage is directly related to the being, the presence. It's often not about the doing, it's about how present, how still are those people in that relationship. So my old identity didn't want to do this video, but I basically said to Sati before I started filming, I said, I'm going to film because, one, I'll feel better after I film, like, because I'll know that I've done something that was good and that was helpful in the world, in the universe. But more importantly, I will have won. I will have won against my old identity that wouldn't have filmed the video. Like the old identity would have gone, yeah, just reinforce the pattern that you're not enough, that, and just insert story and not filmed. And I went, well, I need to film to prove that I can override the old identity, right? So like Joe Dispenza wrote a book called what's it called? The Power of not being yourself or something. I remember the first time I saw that title. I was like, interesting title. Because it kind of goes against the grain of, you know, like people think, you know, you're enough and all this stuff. And he's not talking about like not being yourself. He's talking about being aware that most of us, I was having this conversation with my friend Gaz this morning, most of us are, because he was asking me for some feedback and advice about like some personal stuff, right? And I basically just said, like, most of us are going around with a mindset and a thought process and an identity that is outdated. It's like old computer software, like old beliefs, old values, old stories. It's like we're on, like, if we were a TV system, we're on the History Channel, whereas we need to be on the modern channel. Is that even the channel? Don't know. No, I don't think it is. And I think I've just done a spoiler for my next video, because that was going to be like another video. We'll come back to that. But yeah, like, if you want a new life, new goals, achieve new stuff, then you've got to do new things. I know that's like a contradiction because I'm talking about being, but basically you've got to be and adopt new ways of being that the old you wouldn't do. So like me getting in the car, recording this video, feeling tender, feeling vulnerable, crying half an hour ago, the old me wouldn't have done that. The old me would have only done vulnerability if he knew that he could get away with performing vulnerability. The new me is like, what would the new Miles do? Oh, well, the new Miles would do it regardless. The new Miles would film because he said recently that the new identity is he's going to film a video every single day, whether he likes it or not. Whether he feels like it or not, whether it gets to the end of the day, he is going to film a freaking video every single day. And here we are. And it will be really interesting, because I can't predict the future, but it'd be really interesting if this video does become a video in a chain of videos where there's like hundreds of videos, perhaps even thousands of videos down the line, and I can look back and say, I did actually keep going. Because there's been times in the past where I haven't kept going. And I know that's because the old identity won. And the old identity really, really, really wanted to win today. And so me filming, especially at this time, because it's a time of day I don't usually film, it feels actually like I'm glad I didn't film earlier in the day, because it's harder to film now. But actually, this is a good thing. And I think to round this off, for those of you that are here in the kind of coaching space, that level of authenticity and vulnerability is ultimately what is going to win you clients. Like, it will win you clients. No fancy marketing tactic or niche is going to win you clients more than having one powerful, extraordinary conversation at a time. And actually, a great way to have extraordinary conversations is to show up with authenticity, with vulnerability, like online, on social media, where people can find you, see you, hear from you, etc. That felt good. Yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. I have. It's been good. I'm going to get back to the rock and roll activity that is putting the wheelie bins out, because that needs to be done. And it stinks. You don't need to know that. That's it. Over and out. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.